Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Shanna. Now, I have got some happy mail. I got this in the mail yesterday and actually took a sneak peek at it yesterday, but I didn't really have time to work with it. And so this evening, I've got time and I'm going to work with it. I've got this adorable Thanksgiving card. It says, "Let's talk turkey." And look at those layers. And this is from my friend Daria. And you guys know that we craft on Mondays together. We're actually moving our crafting session from the morning into the evening in the near future. And she has sent me this miniature card kit. And we've got a little stamp in here that says Winter Wishes, and we've got a decorative piece. It's like a winter flourish type thing. I think you could make a great background. We've got an oval. We've got these cut aparts here. We've got some circles with a deer and a bear and a poinsettia, and then some other frames that you can work with, some banners and some tags. We've got a deer there and just lots of cut aparts. And then she's put some cardstock in here, and these are A2 size panels. And we've just got all different colors, and it appears that she has carefully matched this up to go with the pattern paper, and it's going to work out wonderfully. And I am thinking I probably have enough here. I might need to bring in some more cardstock, but I've certainly got enough pattern paper that I could do Kendra's card challenge with it. And she's laid them together to where one piece is face up and the other one is on the back side. So she's just kind of paired them so you can see the two different patterns. And this one here has like wood, it's like a wood grain. And then we have the black, and we've got a lighter pattern on here like a lace. And then we've got some more poinsettias and lots of plaid. It's almost like a kind of a rustic buffalo plaid themed set of cards. And I'm pretty sure I could get a full set of Kendra's Card Challenge out of here. Now, this is interesting. This is a little sticky mat that you can put on your glass board, and you can set your ink pad on, and it's going to stay put. I don't have one of those, and I thought, how convenient. So, and then you just pull it up and remove it off your glass board, put it back on your little acetate sheet, and you've got a really nice thing to set your ink on and to keep it from sliding all over. So we're going to work with this. I'm going to pause for a minute, and I kind of got my head wrapped around what I want to do. And I've picked out some pattern papers here, and I've got a card base. I did have to bring in my card bases, and I'm going to bring in my just my guillotine, and I'm going to cut these panels down. I've kind of decided I'm going to pair this black and white check with the this red and the black cardstock, and we're just going to get to cutting. I'm going to start cutting these up. I'm going to bring it in and show you in a minute, but I've decided to use Kendra's Card Challenge for this set and just get started. And I because it's late and I don't have a lot of time, I thought I would pick a couple of the easier sketches to start out with. And so I'm going to use, I think I use 14 and 15 is what I'm doing. And so right now I'm just cutting my panels down according to the sketch, and I'm going to use my pattern paper. Now this, the way this sketch works, I'm going to have this, I want to have this kind of floral snowflake pattern in the upper right-hand corner, because we're going to put some strips in the lower left-hand corner, and I want my floral elements to show. I'm going to use these strips here that I cut off and cut them down to the appropriate size, and then we'll have our strips for our card. So I'm just going to trim them down. And I'm going to have plenty of strips left that I can use for other cards. Now, I didn't choose to follow the cutting guide and cut up all 6 sheets of pattern paper at once. I'm going to probably piecemeal them and just do it that way, just because, quite honestly, I didn't have time this evening, but I really wanted to play with this. So I'm going to get all my bits and pieces out of the way, and we're going to start to assemble this particular sketch. And I'm just showing you that the check pattern is on the back, and I want this floral on the top. I'm trying to kind of clean up my desk a little bit and get this stuff out of the way so we can get to working and not mess up our other pieces of our card kit. So I'll just take my glue press, and we'll get some glue laid down on here. We're going to get this assembled. At some point, I will show you the sketches. And I really like black, white, and red. It is one of my favorite color schemes. Here it is. So this is the sketch we're going to do with those strips. And it actually calls for 3 layers. You've got your A2 size layer, and then you step in a quarter, and then step in a quarter again, and that'll create your layers. So basically we've got 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We've got 4 by 5 1/4, and then we have 3 3/4 by 5. And those are her layers. And those are pretty typical layers when you're layering up, when you're matting your card. So this sketch calls that you start kind of in the center of that bottom corner. So I'm just going to line up that bottom corner and then just position it on my panel. And just by lining that piece there in the corner. Just giving it a little press, then we're going to add our other 2 strips. And I'm getting the right sized ones. I had 3 there, but I need these. We're going to get them laid down, and then we'll just flip it over and trim it off. And you want to lay these strips down on your panel before you glue it to your other layers, because it just makes it easier to trim these strips off. Just trying to keep my layer kind of straight to where we have about the same distance between our strips of check pattern there. And we'll get it laid down. So I got home tonight, and Pat I'd forgotten he wanted to get our grocery shopping done in advance of Thanksgiving. And so we went to the grocery store and we got all of the fixins for hosting our Thanksgiving dinner. And then I got all of it put away. We had dinner before we went. And he had cooked pork chops on the grill, and I just made some baked potatoes, and we had some of he puts up corn every year, and so we had some of our corn, and it was really good. Then we went to Aldi's and did our shopping for Thanksgiving, and I was so happy to get all of the things that we needed out of the way. And so we'll be all set and ready to go for next week. We are going to have a big gathering. We're going to have, of course, my kids and their kids, and then we're going to have my sister and some of her kids, and my other sister who's down in Florida. I'm going to have some of her kids and grandkids as well. She has a granddaughter, actually, and she'll be here. So we're going to have a good crew, and it should be really fun. And then I've elected to wait and put up my Christmas tree until after Thanksgiving. I really have been wanting to put it up, but I need the space for all of the people to move around and to eat and everything. I've got a table and 6 in the kitchen, and then a table and 6 in the great room, but I want to set up another table and 6 in the great room, and so I want to keep space open and not because I have a really big tree that I put up, so I'm not going to put that tree up so that I have room for another table and 6, so that we can get everybody seated nicely together and everything. But so that's what's going to be going on. We're going to be prepping for that for next week, so that'll be fun. So I'm just looking at this, trying to decide what I want to use to adorn this particular card. And I'm just looking at all my bits and pieces and seeing what my options are. And I'm going to wind up going with that deer, and I'll just fussy cut it out. And so I just felt like I needed something to kind of lighten it up, because we've got a lot of darkness going on there with the red and the black panels. And my desk is a mess. I just dragged my phone cord, and it was hooked to my scissors. And so I'll just cut this out. And it's really easy to fussy cut, just the way that it's got like a kind of like a shadow layer around the deer as it's jumping. And so it's real easy to kind of fussy cut that out. And I'm realizing that I left this video in complete real time. So you're going to sit here and watch me fussy cut it out. So anyway, I basically showed you the contents and put the 2 cards together in 20 some minutes. So that's not too bad. So the heater's running in here. I don't know if you can hear that noise in the background. I always think it sounds incredibly loud to me, but then when I do the playback, I don't really notice it as much. But anyway, so I'm going to pop our deer up on there and just give it a little bit of separation, and it'll be our focal point in addition to all of our pattern paper. And that is, what did I say, card sketch 14, I believe. We'll come back in and lay a sentiment down because we do have that stamp set that has the kind of the snow flurry scene and then the warm winter wishes, and we'll add it. We also could put some embellishments on there, but I don't think I do that. So I'm just kind of debating. I've decided that I'm going to go on and do 15 because it's got a circle die cut on there, and I have these two circle die cut pieces, and I've got these strips laying here, and so I'm thinking it seems logical that we'll go ahead and do that. And I think I'm going to pause and just speed this up a little bit. Okay, so what I did was I just paused and I sped this up about 1.5 times. Normally I run it at 1.5 just because of the length of the video, and it really didn't cut too much off of this because the rest of the video I left at regular speed. But anyway, I try to keep them, I try to stay around under 20 unless I'm doing several cards or I have several techniques that take some time or whatever. I try to, for the most part, kind of keep them under 20. In YouTube world, when you look at your analytics and stuff, people unfortunately don't generally watch for the duration of the video. Sometimes I think I was running at 9 minutes on one I looked at the other day. But it just varies, depending on the length of the video and, who's watching. I have a lot of my viewers say that they watch to the end, that they feel like that's respectful, and I greatly appreciate that. So if you're one of them, I thank you very much. So I'm going to use this buffalo red and black plaid, and I'm going to use this red cardstock that Daria included in the kit, and we'll just get it laid down on my card base. Now, I don't think you can tell in the video. Maybe you can if you're watching on the big screen or whatever. I can't in the editing, but that panel was one that I had created, that card base, and I had started to glue something down on it and then realized I wanted to wait and layer something up. This was on another video, and I laid it aside, and then when I went to layer up whatever it was that I was going to layer up again, I picked up another card base and used it, and so I had a card base laying with a little bit of glue on the front of the panel. So I just laid the panel down on it and just covered up that glue, and then nobody will be none the wiser. And then I don't have to waste a card base. So I'm just trying to decide how I want my layers to be and what I want to use. And I'm going to put this red and black plaid on there. And I love the back side of it. It's got some deers that are jumping that match my little ephemera piece that I laid down there. In fact, I probably could have used it on that had I realized that at the time. But we're just going to get our layers laid down here. And then we'll start bringing in our little rectangles. And I grabbed some black out of my stash because Daria just included one piece of black in there, and I thought I probably would want, there's one piece of black that I used, and then the other colors are like a dark brown. So I decided to bring in another black so that I could layer the back of these pieces of pattern paper. And I'm just cutting it down to the sketch, and then I'm going to create the layer that goes with it. And basically the layers are 1/4 of an inch more than what the pattern paper is. And so we'll layer them up. Now with this, because you've got 3 different rectangles that you're going to add, I'm going to bring in, just a variety of the pattern paper just to kind of really have some interest. And everything coordinates beautifully, so it'll all go together nicely. So I'm just laying my scraps out because I like to work from the scraps for the most part so that I can make good use of my paper. And I'm wanting to bring this black in with some of these florals. And so I'm going to make this my second layer, and then we'll back it with black. And then we'll bring in that strip from the other piece and use it. And then we'll just efficiently use our scraps. And then I'm going to create the layer for that as well. I think I need to look at the calendar. We have got some Christmas shows that we're going to go to the auditorium. We have a event center. I can't think what I want to call it. Basically, a concert hall or whatever in our town, and they have different concerts and stuff. And we went to it last year, and so that's upcoming, and it's really a neat. It's like the course line, you know, the ladies that do the dancing and they kind of get in the line and they kick their legs up. It's just a really fun winter musical show. And we've got that upcoming. I need to check the calendar and see when that is. That's going to be fun. And then we also go to another venue that's out of town, and we've got some tickets to it coming up as well with our friends. My, I think it's an AC/DC. My friend is a fan of AC/DC, and her husband wanted to get the tickets, and so he asked us if we'd go with them, and we usually go to concerts with them, so we're like, sure. So anyway, I have some of those fun things coming up for the holidays as well. I feel like there's like two or three. I think maybe there might be 3 concerts that we have tickets that we're going to be going to. So it's going to be a fun holiday season. Of course, and then with the grandkids as well, and you know, they always make Christmas fun. Kids always make Christmas fun. So, and we have started our Christmas shopping for the grandkids. We've, you know, done some shopping for them already. I need to get them wrapped, so I'm be excited to get the tree up after Thanksgiving, because I've got our front bedroom, which is where they take their naps and they sleep when their hair has got a bunch of boxes and stuff, and I need to get them wrapped so they don't get into them. Now, the boys are young enough that I don't think they're not into exploring, you know, can I peek at my gift yet? But so I was grabbing a circle die and it was too big, so I'm digging for another one. And I did cut some of that out of there because I was looking in my stash for it, and you would just sit there and see my desk with nothing going on for a few seconds. I usually try to eliminate that just to make the video go more smooth. I'm just going to bring in my Empress cutting plates. We'll go and die cut it out. And then we've got that little decorative element for a card, and then I decide that I'm going to go ahead and add another layer to it. Now, that deer has got some greenery on it, and it's the only green that is on the card. And so I decided to reintroduce some more green by taking that larger die and going ahead and die cutting it out, and then we'll layer it up. And so I can still use that green panel to create like a base layer or whatever on it, because I took the circle right out of the center, and that way I can just layer over the top of it and still use that green panel for my future cards that I make with this set. So we'll get this glued up and get it laid down on there, and we basically have all the elements of the sketch as it's shown. So I'm going to kind of clean up my little mess here, get all my bits and pieces and get them set aside. And we're going to get this circle element laid down on there. And I think I decided to pop it up. And we are going to actually take that stamp set that Daria included in the card kit, and we will stamp a couple of greetings for these 2 cards. And, you know, this one here kind of looks kind of masculine. If you had a gentleman that you needed to send a Christmas card to, you could certainly use, I think actually both of them you could use for a masculine Christmas card. So I've got the little decorative element. I'm not going to use this on here, but I think it'd be fun to create a background panel and just stamp it all over the background panel. But I am going to take the sentiment, and then I'm going to take the little snowflake, and I'm going to stamp both of them up, and we'll have 2 sentiments for our card, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm just going to I've cut some white paper over here to the side, and I'm just going to grab it and do some stamping on it. So I'll get my little sticky thing and get it laid down on my desk. And then I can just bring in my little ink pad and position it on there, and then it won't move around while I'm trying to ink up my stamp. So we'll get our stamp inked up and we'll do some stamping. Now, as far as I can tell, this stamp hasn't been used, so I'm trying to take and get it inked up really well. And we're going to get a couple of impressions. I actually do it 3 times. The second one doesn't come out. The little snowflake doesn't come out as well. So I'll stamp it a 3rd time, and then we'll just get them cut out. And we've got our sentiments for our card. And I'm just freehanding this with my scissors. I could have used my guillotine, but I didn't. And we'll just cut it down so we don't have a bunch of white space around it. And we've got one, and then we just need to get our other one. Just trim it up. Oh my goodness, when we got home from the grocery store, I had removed the, I might have talked a little bit, I did a little cleanup in my craft room the other day, and I took my rug out. It was collecting all the little sticky bits and everything, and it was just, I couldn't keep it clean, and it was bothering me, and I took it out. Well, when I came out into the craft room after I had put all the groceries away and everything, I stepped in on that floor and I bit the dust. Fortunately, I didn't get hurt, and Pat never even heard me or come to my rescue or anything. Anyway, here are our finished cards, and I think they turned out really fun. And it was a nice little surprise to get some Happy Mail from my friend and a little Thanksgiving card along with a card kit. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.